Hello, testing 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's kind of quiet. I'm going to check the other microphone. Sorry, this VOD will be recorded and edited. There we go. That's better. Let me know if you can hear it. There we go. That's better. Let me know if you can hear it. Yeah, there you go. Okay. We're going to start in a few seconds. Just making sure everything is ready to go on stream. Yep, there we go. Okay. We're going to start in a few seconds. Just making sure everything is ready to go on stream. Let me test the overlay. Yep, it works. Awesome. Okay. Yep, it works. Yeah, this is a really complicated setup, so I'm gonna. There we go. Good? Good, good. Okay. I'm gonna be walking around getting tools and parts. Now, the MacBook's over here. I'm gonna be walking around getting tools. Oh, we have echo. Okay. So I can't hear any feedback. What I'm going to do is put the chat up here. I should have a microphone up close so I'm not in the way. And go to the stream dashboard. Okay, and let me blast all of this on Discord real quick. I'm assuming there's automated ways to get people on here. I'm going to post in quite a few places, so we're going to see a variety of people from all my hobby groups, so it's not just gaming. Problem is I don't have a good selection of... I have such a variety Discord groups that I don't know where else to share it other than the big places. Let's see, Positron. Let's see. Self-promotion, yeah. Let's do a few of these and then see where it takes me. Awesome. Okay, thank you. Yay, thank you for joining. Some bloody random. Yeah, it's a 480p stream. I'm not sure why. Let me check my settings. Stream. That's the thing, is I can't check any of this stuff without doing a test. Yeah, output. Yeah, it's doing hardware rendering. I'm going to stop the stream real quick and try to get it to a normal rate. I think if for some reason the output is scaled to 480, so, and I can't change it while stream. So please stand by. Yep, 1080p. Okay, so refresh your page. Yep, there we go. I'm glad YouTube lets me do that. That is so much better. Thanks for catching that. I appreciate it. Again, YouTube is new to me. I usually do Twitch. I have a complicated OBS setup right now where this the MacBook over here is actually outputting HDMI for the instructions to a capture card. And then I have my desktop actually running OBS, and I have Stream Elements set up as an overlay now. So we get in chat and any kind of updates. Because I was using StreamYard or Streamlabs, and I don't like having to have any kind of dedicated program that isn't OBS to run a stream. So yeah, 16K. I could barely afford a 8 or 9 year old webcam, and this GoPro I bought during COVID. So this GoPro is now running I basically have a GoPro that's running, it's a GoPro Hero 8 running a webcam, USB webcam with their webcam app, and that's how I'm getting video. And then I literally have like a garage light that's actually lighting the rest of my room, and then my workbench that I've had for about 8 or 9 years. Yeah. So I guess I'll introduce myself for anybody I just spammed the chat with. And again, let me know if anything goes wrong with this, because I'm going to start, or else it'll take forever. Yeah, that's the problem. Streaming is way harder than people think. This is crazy. But basically, my name is Mitch. I go by Mitch3D. That's my YouTube channel handle. I've had this channel since 2016. I've been 3D printing for 15 years. My first printer was a MakerBot Cupcake. Back when the laser cut plywood boxes that you had to assemble as a kit. So I've built probably at least 20 to 30 printer kits in my lifetime. I have been 3D printing almost half my lifetime, most of my adult life, essentially. I guess does that count? Yeah. So I think my first 3D printer, I probably was in my 20s. I don't remember. Anyway, so in 2016, you can go back and look at my YouTube videos. I have pretty much every stream of every printer I've built and a video of at least every printer I've owned, or at least my favorite ones. In 2016, I bought a Prusa Mark II, and the Prusa Mark II has been an awesome machine. It was an awesome machine. I ended up selling that during COVID to somebody who had a print farm that was printing face shields for COVID. So he had a print farm of a bunch of Prusas, and he was doing those with the Mark IIs, and I think the Mark III came out in 2018, I believe. It was either 2018. Yeah, I think the Mark III was 27. Yeah, I think 2018, I believe. Yeah, and actually I'm using NVIDIA Broadcast to do background removal, so you don't see my bed behind me. And I like face overlays, because then I'm not distracting from the rest of the viewing area. So then I sold the Mark II. I've been pretty much exclusively using CME Delta printers up until I got I won a Voron V0 kit, and then I won another Voron V0 kit at another RepRap festival, and built those two kits. And I have videos, and I think I have a video of that one somewhere on my channel. And then I moved from Dallas to St. Louis, and I had, at the time in St. Louis, I had two FL Sun, a V400. I had a FL Sun T1. I had a Bamboo Lab A1 with the AMS combo, the CME Artemis, and then I have my two backpack printers. So I can't really show you easily, but just to show you kind of, this is like the main thing I wanted to show you. Let me get this. This will just be a quick little show off. I can't really do anything with it because it's not set up, but this is the positron. So I got involved in the positron somehow a while ago. Basically, I think I met Kraylin at 3D Printopia, and then Earth. It's probably Earth and then 3D Printopia. But you can see the size difference of a positron versus a Mark IV. That you can pretty much put the whole positron on the Mark IV bed. And this is a 180 by 180, and this is a 250 by 220. So, yeah, thank you. So I didn't talk about the backpack printer yet. So yes, I basically met the positron team, and specifically Nomad, who is the CEO of positron. But he basically took over the project from Kraylin, and worked with LDO to produce the kit. So this is the V3.2, which is the current one. They're working on the V3.3, which will make a lot of nice changes. But since it's an open source project, there are derivatives. There's the Journey Maker. There's now the Lemontron. So there are 2 forks of the original design. And then this is the original. This is the official LDO version, which uses the 90-degree hot end from Fadis and the glass bed with the ITO coating. And this is all printed with Polymaker ASA, and it's just a really nice printer. So that turned into my current Backpack 3D printer. So you probably have seen my Backpack 3D printers on multiple video streams, and I've interviewed with people about that, and then also I was on BattleBots for the 2020 and 2021 season. My team was called Sub-Zero, and so I have a little bit of stardom on Discovery Channel, even though I'm not like a big celebrity, but like the backpack printer is kind of my claim to fame. And unfortunately, I am really bad with documenting my videos and content. And that's why I want to stream. So this is, because I haven't put it away yet because I'm lazy, this is the frame minus the positron. It's really dirty because it's just been sitting here. This is the backpack. So this Send Cut Send sponsored part of the project. They sent me, I designed the aluminum parts to fit the positron, and the back panel fits my back almost exactly. I basically measured my shoulders to my lumbar, my lower back, and figured out the width of my back with my gut, and then figured out what's the minimal amount of surface area I can fit a positron with enough structure and batteries. Batteries are using a Harbor Freight. They're basically Harbor Freight drill batteries, the Bauer ones, 20-volt batteries, and I run 2 in parallel. And then behind here is these are actually made out of TPU. So this is a Polymaker 95A. This is a Polymaker 95A, and you can feel, well, you can't feel it, but you can see that basically with gyro and infill, these are squishy enough that they kind of feel like a car seat. They're about as plush as a car seat, a leather car seat. But yeah, these are all printed on the CMC Artemis with my modified Revo hot end. And these are Amazon Basics straps, essentially. Or not Amazon Basics, but Amazon sells these generic straps with linkages. And then, what else did I add? And then inside the electronics enclosure, oh, that's really loud. I'm actually running 2 relay shutoff. These are 2 basically low voltage cutoffs. So basically if they go below the nominal voltage of like 15 or 16 volts, which is 2.8 volts per cell at a 5S, these will shut off to protect the cells. And then all of it goes into, it actually has fuses, and then the fuses go through a diode. The diodes protect from reverse biasing so that the batteries don't get reversed. They don't reverse into each other. That allows me to hot swap the batteries, so I don't have to match the battery voltages. I can run one or the other or both. And then this is a step converter. This is actually boost converter, so it goes from the 20 volt of the battery, the 18 to 20 volts, and it regulates it at a higher voltage at 24 volts while maintaining the 5 to 10 amp. It's roughly 5 to 6 amps continuous through this. So yeah, that is basically, I have the schematics drawn somewhere. But yeah, this whole frame and this frame and the positron are probably somewhere in the, I don't know, 12 kilogram range. So really not that heavy. Well, maybe even less than 12 kilogram, probably more like 7 or 8. Hey, well, thank you for the subscription. I'm trying to see who you are. It's hard to see on here. Nate, thank you. Yeah, I even did everything down to the using M4 bolts, M4 hex bolts, and then I printed my own thumb screws, so I can take the positron on and off entirely with thumb screws. Hold on, I'm gonna get a bunch of alerts. Okay, so. Okay, let's get started. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think I had slowly gained followers from interviews with other people on YouTube. And sorry, I'm monitoring the stream as I'm talking. Just making sure. Okay, OBS is good. So I've been on Grant, 3D Musketeers, and I've been on Hot Makes. I've been on Vicky. How do you slice that? Her stream with I forgot his name, but her partner on that podcast. 3D Print Doctor is probably how most of you know me, because I've been on that his videos, because he so I get a lot of Instagram followers every time my backpack printer thing comes up, and trying to find out where else I am, but like basically it's everybody's content of me interviewing people. So like if I could have one ADHD organization session where, sorry, I'm moving the camera, one organization session where I can like document everything I do and every project I do. I hate moving the camera while it's live, but I'm realizing that this is in the way. Again, these are improvements I'm gonna make. Right now I have like a cheap boom arm holding a GoPro, and I have just long enough USB cable to reach my computer. So I think I'm gonna actually mount something to my wall that hangs down over my workbench. And then I'm finding that when I'm doing the stream, everything I'm doing to set up the stream, I'm like, oh, I should 3D print that. Oh, I should 3D print that. And then recently, actually last weekend, I hung my rep rack. I have about 50 rolls of filament hung on a rep rack over my computer desk. And if you look in the disclaimer, you might see what happened. But basically, back in January, I was living in St. Louis working for an automation company. I was an automation engineer, doing PLCs and HMI work, but I was not ready for that role. I am very much ADHD and organization. I really have been involved in makerspaces for about 10 years now, I believe. 12 years. So about 12 years I've been working at makerspaces, not working, but volunteering at makerspaces. And I have basically, since I started at makerspaces, been 3D printing and training on 3D printers, and have even worked for a 3D printing company in Dallas called Polyprinter. And that's how I got my start, as I was actually a 3D printing technician. And that's actually got me into a CNC technician role that I traveled and worked on industrial CNC machines, CNC routers, lasers, water jets, and then I worked from that I was able to start at a startup company making canvas wall decor art, and I ended up being the person that was their machine technician, and including in that, I did a lot of fabrication and hackery stuff. So I kind of made machines work and hacked and welded and machined and CNC'd and programmed and G-code and all that stuff. So I learned a lot about PLCs from that job. Started a PLC company that I had to move to St. Louis for family, and then I learned that that wasn't for me, sitting at a desk all day. And so now, out of the blue, when I was looking for work, I was kind of desperately looking for work because it was all of a sudden, and it was in the worst time of the year to not have a job. So I ended up busting my butt to find a job that I enjoyed, and really field technician. It was either being a field technician or a field technician. I have 3 job offers for field technician jobs. That actually, one of them, they flew me out because they knew my qualifications working on UV inkjet. They sent me out to Alpharetta, Georgia, somewhere in that the Atlanta area, and interviewed me and offered me a job a couple days later. But I had a bunch of really good job offers, and out of the blue, I was like, I kind of want to do 3D printing for some reason. I've just always wanted to be back in 3D printing. So anyway, I messaged Dave Randolph, owner of Printed Solid. I was like, hey, can I have a job? And he's like, if you move here, you can have a job. And I was, that's not something you normally get, is the CEO of the company letting you have a job if you can move there. So I moved to Maryland, to Delaware area, and it was a nightmare scenario of moving. This was the worst move I've ever had in my life, and it was the longest move, the most expensive move. I got scammed multiple times, and because moving companies are scam artists, and I made it. So anyway, I love the job. I basically am one of their engineers, and I build all their equipment, every equipment that you see in the video. Recently, Joel Telling, 3D Printing Nerd, did a video tour of Printed Solid, and I'm in the video briefly, and basically what he shows in the video is exactly what I've been working on. Everything he's shown in the manufacturing area has stuff I've actually welded, cut, ground down, machined. I did pretty much all of it. So Nomad, who I told you is the CEO of Positron, does streaming regularly. His streaming handle is Nomad's Galaxy. Him and I actually got hired around the same time, and we both have been working together to build all of the workbenches, assembly jigs, and everything you see in Joel's video. So I don't have the video linked right now, but I can, if you just look up 3D Printing Nerd, go back a couple months, you'll see Printed Solid Tour. So yeah, so my moving troubles and my job troubles are now solved thanks to the 3D printing community. And if it wasn't for the 3D printing community, I would not be here, because they helped me out tremendously in the last 6 months for various reasons. But and also my family helped out a lot. So I feel really privileged to be able to live stream a 3D printer build. So that is my whole soapbox. I don't know how many people are watching, but I'm going to just tell you 7 people. Cool. Subscribe, thumbs up, all that stuff. If you think this is a good stream, I am going to try my best to do this all in one weekend, because I am tired of staring at a box. The other thing is I need to actually use the printer. Yes, I can print stuff at work, and I have. I actually have a whole box of upgrades. you'll see at a Christmas gift exchange, somebody made the racquetball or squash ball. These are squash ball feet for the Core 1. I have all the parts to convert to a Core 1 Plus, which is basically the vent and the filament pathway, and this is the upgraded filament holder. Since I have a Mark IV, this is not a Mark IVS. Really, the only difference is the nozzle, a silicon sock, and a fan. There is not really much different hardware-wise on the Mark IVS or Mark IV to Mark IVS. I feel like the Mark IVS is just a Mark IV Plus. It's just kind of like they added a bigger fan so that you can go faster and a high flow nozzle to basically make the printer go faster. And then I do have the silk plate, the original silk plate that came with it, but you can see it gets torn up pretty easily. These are just a laminated piece of PEI on it. I don't like smooth plates because stuff sticks to it really well or not at all. It is a very good beginner plate though, like it's fine. I am currently using the Cryo Grip, which I think is probably one of the best beds for the money. It can get damaged pretty easily, but you don't have to heat this thing up like to crazy temperatures to get stuff to stick, and PLA sticks perfectly, PETG sticks perfectly. I am gonna probably buy a Prusa textured powder coated sheet. That's probably gonna be. I do want to stick to original Prusa hardware if I can, but the Cryo grips are a good option for the price. But yes. But yeah, as a disclaimer, I am not going to be unbiased, but I am biased. I did not get the conversion kit for free. I did pay for the conversion kit and all the extra hardware that I'm going to need for this. The Prusa was an arrangement, but essentially I am paying to make this my Core 1. It's also a lot of work to get a Core 1 built. They are very complex machines. They're probably on par with a Trident. Maybe not so much a Trident, but like closer to a positron kit, like in terms of hours of assembly. I've built one from a kit. I built one Core 1 from a kit at work, but that was with help with Nomad. He helped me. He did part of it, but essentially a lot of it is just going to be familiar with me because I've now day in and day out. I know basically what parts go where, and I know exactly how the machine is set up. So I am going to say I am a partial expert at Core 1s now. But having my own is kind of I want to have a reference machine. I want a machine where I can modify it and have a reference of like, oh, I want to try this with this material and actually know if it works or not before I go messing with the actual Prusa machines that we have at work. But yeah, we have a print farm. They probably showed in the video, but we have a print farm of Mark IVs, Mark IVSs, Core 1s. And so being able to know if you plate something, if you know if the G-code works or the material works or the machine itself is capable of doing, a full plate of a certain type of material and stuff. Like that stuff's really useful to know. But yeah, it's all about the tuning. It's all about Prusa having their profiles already set up. Yeah, I'm going to get to the Haribo. We're going to do all the boring disassembly stuff. So this machine will never turn on again as a Mark IV. I'm going to show you real quick what I did so far. The only thing I've done so far is upgrade the firmware. The first step, so I'm going to pop out my chat real quick. And I'm going to do My MacBook screen does not have a lot of space, so I'm going to have to read this thing. Yes, so I am getting gummy bears. So it's going to show you all the tools you need, blah, blah, blah. I have all these tools. Wrenches. These are for the hot end assembly. These are like a multi-tool. I'm following the guide if you look for the Core 1 conversion kit if you want to follow along. That's why I have it on screen. Needle nose pliers. I pretty much have everything on here. Universal wrenches. Most of it I'm going to try to use the LTT screwdriver as much as possible. Any other Allen key set, I have a whole set of Allen keys down there. I do not have a T10 screwdriver. I believe it comes with one here, so I don't think I have one. I'm going to try to figure out if I do. That would probably be a good thing to have. I do have a, like, I think I have my precision bit set. I have an iFixit tool set. I might have to go digging for that. I don't think that's going to stop me. So we're going to start with the first step. Oh, before I start, I'm going to just show you. This printer is basically new. It actually is kind of cool. It shows you how many meters and kilometers each axis is gone. My x-axis is 85 kilometers. My y-axis is 78 kilometers. I have had 4 kilometers of filament ran through here. I have not installed an MMU, and my print time is 20 days, 4 hours. So this is basically a new machine. I've probably put at least 18 of the 20 hours on this machine. As far as I know, this came from an old. This was an old print farm machine that they allowed us to have. Basically, this is one that just didn't get upgraded for whatever reason. It's perfectly fine. I've printed hundreds of hundreds of printed parts on it, but yeah, I think, we obviously have a lot of printers at work, so we don't have a shortage of printers, let's just say that. But the main thing is here, version info. So I upgraded to the latest firmware is 6.4. If you do not have this set to 6.4, it actually shows in the instructions. It says before you tear down the machine, it says to wipe the rails down, which I've already done. Make sure your heat bed is not damaged. Unload the filament, run the position, make sure the screws are accessible. But it says here, make sure it is 6.24 or newer before continuing. Otherwise, the newly connected board will not work and resist updating. So that means that basically it doesn't know that it's going to be a Core 1 because the firmware is so old that it doesn't know that a Core 1 exists. The buddy board has an expansion board that gets plugged into it, and it knows from the expansion board, as far as I know, it will detect based on the expansion board that it is now a Core 1, that it's acting as a Core 1. So I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to unplug it. We're going to put it on the side. I'm using a cutting mat, which is nice because it does kind of frame the area. I'm going to see if you can see it. It's going to be hard to see. Hey, it's Rob. And Zura, my 2 favorite people out of all my favorite people. Well, thank you for joining. We are going to take the buddy board out. And we're just going to make a mess. This thing is dirty. I have not wiped it down yet. I do have paper towels and alcohol, so I could. I think these are M3 by 10s. I am going to, these are M3 by 8s. Actually M3x6s, I believe. We are going to store all fasteners in parts bins. These are old Husky. These, I think, came with my toolboxes. But we're going to do... I'm going to try to store as much as I can inside these. At least have a tray available, because we do have to reuse a lot of the fasteners. Again, I should have 3D printed the organizer, but I don't know. I'm pretty good at identifying screws. So, one of the issues that might not be an issue, but the NFC reader goes here, and there's a blank right now. So under here, there is actually a blank. On the Mark IV's, there's actually a, I don't know if you can see it, but basically on the Mark IV's, there is a cover. So the Wi-Fi antenna, or not in it, well, sorry, the Wi-Fi board is back here. Yeah, so this actually has the Wi-Fi module here, which I've been using. It's a little bit different. Yeah, so this Wi-Fi module is actually different than the one on the Core 1, I believe. It's a different cover. It might not be the same, and it might not work. So what I'm going to probably have to do is do an Ethernet. I might have to run this over Ethernet. The other thing, so NFC, so the Mark IV's and the Core 1 and the Core 1 Plus and the Core 1L are all going to use an NFC reader, and it is a reader that works with the app in order to initialize it with your Wi-Fi settings. So all you do is in the app, you basically put it on there, and it tells the control board what Wi-Fi setting you have on there. There is, unfortunately, I do not have that Wi-Fi chip. I probably can get one from work, but I did not get one. I forgot about it. I did not. There's like little differences. So I guess when you pay like $50 or whatever, $100 to get the upgrade, you get the printed parts, you get the NFC reader, which is unique to this printer. You get the 5-volt part cooling fan, and you get a hot high flow nozzle. So the high flow brass nozzle is like at least $20 alone on that one, and then the fan is probably another $5 or $6 worth of parts. So it does add up. Like, it actually is a pretty decent kit. But again, I am dealing with what I got, and so I'm gonna kind of piece this together as a Mark IV to Core 1 and then a Core 1 Plus. So I don't think there's a lot of people that have not just done the Mark IV upgrade for Mark IV's upgrade and gone through. But yes, I do not have an NFC antenna. I will probably be running it without one and then just using it later. So it looks like I think these two covers, that's too deep. I'm going to have to use an Allen key. So again, I don't have a full set of Prusa tools either. I have a whole tool bag under my desk. I've had these tools for a while, so I hate buying new tools if I don't have to. I want to have only the tools I need for the job available if I can. Keeps a clean desk. Allen keys specifically drive me crazy. If I do not put an Allen key back, I will go hunting for it forever, and I will never sleep. I hate losing Allen keys. I hate losing sets of things. but it is a control issue. But it also is like you really need to be able to like take care of your tools, or else you're just gonna go crazy finding them. I think these are M3 by 10s. I'll put this in the junk box part because I think half this stuff is gonna be junk at the end of this. I am keeping the frame. I might in the future do a Prusa wire. The Prusa wire uses the frame, the bed, pretty much everything that isn't like all the spare parts you can get. They're not Prusa unique ones, but essentially it uses the frame and makes it into a Voron. And then we'll do the Wi-Fi module, which is I'm going to verify this, but I believe the Mark IV Wi-Fi module is different than the Mark IV's Wi-Fi module. You can see on here that it's different than the Wi-Fi module on here. I might have to buy another Wi-Fi module. So at this point, I should have just done the Wi-Fi upgrade kit. Yeah. So you can see the Wi-Fi module is not, it's an ESP 015. Is it 815? S series. So this is like a very basic ESP module without a shell on it. I believe what they have now is closer to like an ESP 12. So I'm going to probably have to get another Wi-Fi module to make it current. But again, I might just do Ethernet. Honestly, I think this thing being air-gapped would be great. I'm not that paranoid about security, but I also realize that like I don't need the Wi-Fi, I don't need the NFC. I really just need it to connect to Prusa Connect, and Prusa Connect is on Prusa's private servers. Yeah, it's okay. It could be an O1. Yeah. It is a little disappointing that there's so many little upgrades on the Mark IV's that I don't have. But I also realize I'm going to be spending at least another $100 to replace the parts that I could have just got a Mark IV's kit upgrade. But because all the stuff for the Mark IV's upgrade from the Mark IV to Mark IV's, that stuff goes on the Core 1. So it's not really not used. It's pretty much all used, actually. All the electronics are pretty much used on here. So cut the zip ties, remove all zip ties, securing the cable bundle inside the X-Buddy. When cutting zip ties, proceed carefully not to damage. Remove the 2 screws and the main cable holder. So I will show that on here. Sorry, the lighting, there's not much lighting in here, but I'm going to cut all the zip ties. The way they organize these wires, they actually cover all the wires with the ribbon cable. So the LCD ribbon cable is actually covering up the rest of the wires as kind of a bundle. So it's a really nice way to hide a bunch of cables. Coming from a Mark II, where I built a Mark II, the Mark II had no wire management. It was just a 3D printed box and the control board, the INC, I think it was the Rambo board, and they basically shoved all the wires on top of it. There was no wire organization in the previous generation. I do not know about the Mark III. I think the Mark III was a little bit better, but I remember the Mark II being it was a bird's nest. Yeah, I'm kind of to the point where it's like I have Ethernet to my desktop. I do not use the Wi-Fi. I have a Wi-Fi adapter on my desktop, but my MacBook is great. My MacBook doesn't have Ethernet, but like there's the kind of things that, like if it's a stationary machine, it should be on Ethernet. If it's not a stationary machine, like a phone or a laptop, it should be on Wi-Fi. Like you know, it's like if you're not going to move it, it's not going anywhere, then it should probably be on Ethernet because it's more reliable anyway. Like I'm in an apartment complex. I have like 50 Wi-Fi SSIDs going on, and I'm sure if you did a spectral analysis, you'd see like all kinds of noise. So we are going to remove the cable adapter here. So this stream, my goal of the stream was just to remove all the parts that I need to remove. And then tomorrow I'll actually start on the Core 1 build. It looks like you just pull the side ones and pull it through. But yeah, feel free to ask me questions in chat and distract me. I'm perfectly fine with that. Let me know how the stream is going because I can't really see it. I can see a preview on my desktop, but basically, like, I have to remember that I have to be in frame. Like, I basically need to have another monitor on my desk just showing me my video feedback and my chat because it's hard to read the chat and also pay attention to the camera at the same time. I think these are M3 by 16s or 18s. I'm not sure. These are longer screws because they go through a clamshell, a two-part piece. And yeah, I remember building. So when I first started, I actually built a couple Mark IVs. I started working there, and I remember the wire management being really kind of difficult because they kind of shove everything a certain way underneath the frame. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine if you don't. I probably will be streaming Sunday as well. I don't know what's going to go on tomorrow, but I have a feeling we are. So my mom lives here with me, and I don't know, we've been talking about a future pet. So we'll see how that goes. I don't want to make any commitments without us being prepared to take on the responsibility, but I am, yeah, anyway. 2 a.m. Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, well, thanks for joining. Yeah, don't not get sleep. Anyway, I think this is. Oh, there's a zip tie right here. I just can't see it. There we go. Now it should come apart. There we go. So these are strain relief covers. I'm keeping all the printed parts and the screws in case I have to assemble this back together for some reason. Okay. Disconnect all the connectors from the top of the buddy board. There's a safety latch on each of these. Disconnect the extruder cable, heat bed thermistor cables, power panic. Disconnect the LCD connector by lifting up carefully. Yeah, these are very sensitive. So these use a connector called a click. I think it's called a. Is it called ClickMate? I think it's called a ClickMate. But they have a positive retention sort of like the JST. It's a little different than the JST, but I'm going to remove the screw terminals. So they use eyelets, round eyelets for their cables, their power connectors with crimp connectors, which are the way they should be. They don't use fork connectors. I believe all the wiring on the Core 1 is completely different, so I don't think most of the wiring is going to be reused from this. As far as I know, there's pretty much no wiring being reused. But the wires that are connected to the stepper motors will be reused because they're connected to the stepper motors. I think all the stepper motors get reused on the new one. There's another connector down here. I'm also realizing that I should probably have a camera facing. If I do mess up this part, I can always fix these things later, but it would definitely put a damper on the project. That is really tight. There you go. Okay. Yeah, I just don't want to short anything. There we go. So this is the LCD connector. That one is, I believe, just frictioned on, so I can carefully pull it. It's hard to get a hold of it. There you go. But yeah, it's a really, I don't know what kind of connector this is, but it's really fragile, it looks like. I have a kitty welded to my leg. Yeah, I cannot do another cat, unfortunately. I am just not connected to cats. I would love to have a cat, but I also realize that I'm in a small apartment, so litter boxes are a pain, and if they're not litter trained, it's kind of tough to deal with. Okay, so I'm going to explain what I'm removing. I'm removing the thermistor, the bed thermistor. I'm removing the bed thermistor. These are the bed leads. Right here. I removed the main connector here. This is called the power panic. So this actually, the power supply will actually give a signal before it completely drops. Before it completely drops out. There is a specific ground connector that's held in with an M3 screw. That one is done. That's done. So basically everything on the chassis is completely grounded. And then X, Y, and Z are at the very top of the board. X, Y, Z, I think they're in order. There's two Z motors actually. So X, this is Y1, or Z, and Z2, and I'm sorry, yeah, Z1 and 2, and yeah, so these are Z, L, and R, and then this is Y. But that's going to change. It's going to actually be one Z output, and then the Z splits to 3 separate Z motors on the Core 1. So there's actually a splitter that basically powers all 3 motors off of one expansion board part. And then I think it has the Core XY A and B. So Core XY uses both A and B motors, or X and Y motors, depending on what you call them. So it all just gets reused. It's the same 4 motors, just in different arrangements. just to show you what it looks like. Yeah, basically everything's disconnected already. So I'm pretty much ready to pull the board. And no, they're showing you in order. Okay. Uh-oh. We're doing the full thing first. Okay. So I'll follow how they do it. Before we continue, though, I'm going to put all these. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put these in my drive container thingy. Okay. Now, I got to flip it upside down. This you'll get to see more stuff now. Oh. So you can see the wiring is kind of a mess. They do a really good job with the zip ties and everything. Remove all the cable holders from the frame and detach from the cables. Zip ties all the cable holds, and then yeah. So these things are a pain to get in manually when you're assembling printers. So first thing I'm going to do is cut all the zip ties without cutting the wires. I'm going to just make sure I'm not damaging the wires as I do them, or they weren't damaged from the zip ties. But yeah, this chassis is really clean. Like, I don't think this chassis has been moved around a lot. There's not a lot. I mean, there's a lot of dirt and stuff, but that's just dust. It's not like dirt. So, removing all the zip ties. If I cut a ground cable, it's not that big of a deal because I'm pretty sure they're gonna give me a new ground cable for the core one. So I don't think I'm going to be using that. Also the ground, if you notice when they assemble the printers, the ground line is actually the one on the very bottom. I believe that's on purpose. Wow, this one was done really tight. When I assembled mine, like it took me hours to, when I assembled the ones I built for customers, it was very meticulous on where those wires are placed, in what order, and how they're all going to be wrapped together. As far as I know, the Core 1 upgrade is going to basically be like a scratch built. Like you're basically just taking all the wires are going to be replaced, but I might be wrong. There might be a lot of wire reuse, because the bed wires have to be a lot longer to reach back in the back versus the current ones. Here. So I removed the ribbon cable and the ground lead. So the LCD screen has its own ground cable to protect you from getting shocked if the chassis goes live. Through the LCD panel, which is a part you're going to most likely touch. That's why there is a ground lug on the LCD screen, so you're not getting touched by the bezel. You're not getting shocked by the bezel, basically. It's an European standard to have everything grounded properly and has to meet like UL certifications and stuff. It's yeah, at least one. Oh God, these are even like the knockoff of the Play-Dohs. I believe I don't even know where half of these came from. This is the knockoff Play-Doh. This one doesn't even have the spring keeps messing up, and it's not even sharp. I have even better ones that are actually like model maker snips, but they're so sharp. I think I would cut wires more than I would I would snip the insulation off the wires. But as far as I know, this is all the wires, and then apparently they want you to remove, for some reason, all the clips off the frame. I'd imagine because they might be reused, but I don't think so. But I'm going to follow their instructions. Maybe when I build a Prusa wire, I can reuse these. I would have to buy a Prusa wire, so I'd have to buy the parts for a Prusa wire, basically. And that's a lot of Big Tree Tech hardware and some stuff from LDO. I'm removing the rubber feet as well. And all these. Again, thank you for viewing. Thank you for coming to the stream. I don't know who shows up to these things. I would appreciate likes and follows and subscribes, whatever it is here. And please let me know how the stream goes. Yeah. Well, what I have in here, these two wire cutters, I don't even know where they came from. And then this is the original glue stick that I got from the Prusa Mark II. So I still have the same glue stick from my Prusa. This was one I think I stole from a roommate or something. I don't even remember where this came from. But this is a 7mm hex wrench, and this is the perfect size for most E3D style nozzles. So when I swap nozzles on this printer, I use that nozzle kit, because this sucks. Using these wrenches really sucks to remove nozzles. Oh, another zip tie. Yeah, they really tightly, these zip ties are so tight on these Mark IV frames that I don't, I hope they don't pinch wires, because I'd have to do some microsurgery. Okay. Disconnect the main cable from the LCD. Disconnect the grounding cable to remove the screws from the LCD. So I'm gonna try to ground myself by touching my PC case. So my PC case is grounded. I do have a ground strap, but before I do anything sensitive, since I'm touching carpet with my bare feet, I try to, yeah, this ribbon cable is too short on the Core 1. On here, yeah, the ribbon cable's, I think, a lot longer on the Core 1. And the ground screw. And the good thing about having an old version of the Mark IV is that it does not use the Torx screws to hold the LCD in. It actually uses think this is M3 by... I think that's an M3 by 8. I'm going to sort those later. But yeah, so in the picture it shows the injection molded plastic case frame. 20 seconds of latency. So I have latency turned on because I have captioning turned on. I prefer to have captioning on because I want to be accessible to people, more accessible to people. So if you're interested in that, also, I have a hard time reading the chat if it gets busy. I don't mind if it's just like one person chatting the whole time. My problem is if nobody's chatting, then I think something's wrong because nothing's happening. But yes, I am using the old style LCD cover on here, but it's the new LCD frame. So the old LCDs actually had... I think I got it all. Yeah, so this is the 3D printed one. The new ones are injection molded, but the difference between the old and new LCD is the new LCD has this built in. The other one does not have a ground built in. So the new LCDs actually have a ground built in. I'm going to keep this on there. So they actually do it. They have an LED strip on the bottom that reflects the light downward. There's only 3 LEDs. I thought there was more. Yeah, there's like 3 LEDs inside of here. So I'm going to put this in our, what I think is going to be going to the Core 1 box. Let's put that over here for now. Yeah, to save it for later LCD assembly. I had to confirm because I didn't know, but apparently the Core 1 has a different injection molded cover that says Prusa Core 1 or just keep Prusa. It has like the new style cover. So it's just the LCD board, not the cover that I need for the conversion. Allen key removed the 2 screws holding the Y-axis idler on the front plate. Pull the end of the belt out. A heat pad and disengage it. Remove the belt idlers by pulling it out. So I'm going to basically remove the front 2 idlers. I'm going to pull the belt out. I'm going to pull the idler out. I'm pretty sure I am going to remove the entire bed, but just to show you what I'm doing. I am not an expert, but I feel like I know enough about assembly and disassembly of Prusa printers. Yeah, I like the idea of auto captioning. But again, I'm basically new to live streaming on YouTube. I haven't done a live stream on YouTube for a really long time, since 2019. I think I was building I don't know, you can go back and look, but I'm pretty sure I built a Rostock Max for somebody. And the Rostock Max is a very old design. I'm going to put the pulley and pin on there. Keep the printed part in there. We might be reusing the idler. I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, it looks like we will be. Save the pulley for later use. So there is a pulley ready to go. Remove the 2 screws on the back, holding the Y motor in place. Remove the y-axis assembly. Okay. Instructions so far are pretty simple. The complicated part is when you're doing like the Core XY stage. I think the Core XY stage is like the most complicated part of this printer, the Core one. Okay. It has a thermal pad on the back, which actually transfers to the frame. So it does, that's how they get away with heat, especially since this one has to work harder than the x-axis. And you can see we're just saving the whole assembly for later. So all these save for later parts, I believe I'm going to try to put in the box down here. So I have two boxes. I have the Core 1 upgrade kit box, and I have another box that's just all the Mark IV parts. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna share my screen. Not my screen, but share my stream. Give me 1 second. Joel Telling today released a video specifically for how him building a Core 1 kit. So if you want a quick rundown of the Core 1 kit build, I would do that. I think I'm down to 4 viewers, which is fine. But again, keep chatting if you want. Bamboo instructions are better, but Prusa's than as far as I would say that's true. Then Bamboo must be. They have a wiki, as far as I know, and yeah, they have. They're not bad. They're not bad. I've followed a few of them, but really I didn't have to do much on the A1, unfortunately. So the A1 was pretty much out of the, I mean, it wasn't out of the box. I bought it used with mods already done to it. So like I bought it used, and I had to kind of figure some stuff out, but like I didn't have to do any modifications or anything. But yeah, the A1 is pretty much take it out of the box, put some accessories on, and it ready to go. I think the Mark IV should be the same way, but in my opinion, I'm just so used to how Prusa does their instructions that it doesn't, like, to me, Voron instructions are probably the most difficult instructions. But Voron is designing their instructions for people like me who just want to see where things go and what screw to use. The internal instructions are probably closer, the Prusa internal instructions are probably closer to what Voron instructions are than the consumer ones, where they have to assume that you don't know anything about electronics. Try not to pinch the wires. Here's the power supply. I think this metal plate goes in the for later box. Yeah, and the Voron builds weren't bad. My problem with the Voron builds was the LDO V0 and the Cyborg. So I did the LDO and the Cyborg V0 kit. And the LDO one was, it was far in, it had a few things that strayed from the stock V0 and all the mods. So you had to kind of read the complimentary guides from LDO that kind of that showed you some of the community mods, and so you had to figure out how the community mods worked with the stock one. So it's like you had to kind of keep going back and forth and figure it out. The Cyborg one was pretty close to stock, but I was using the CNC kit, so it basically had machined metal parts, which are different, but essentially worked the same way. So I did have to make some modifications that weren't exactly correct because of the CNC parts. So all in all, it didn't really... both of them basically were not straightforward at all. This is not straightforward because I am cutting through not having a Mark 4S. I only have a Mark 4, so some of the stuff on this doesn't match. But again, it's close enough that all I'm going to do is just get the parts I'm missing. And the Core 1 has so many parts that you're not going to use from the original kit. But again, I don't know. I might run into a problem down the line. Yeah, power panic cable. Pretty sure I'm going to be using this one. It says save the power panic cable. That's going in the box. I'm going to save everything. I'm not throwing anything away. I'm just saving it all in the box. It's just easier for me to sort. But yeah, they might ask for something that they said not to save later, so I'm already kind of preparing for it. These use 4 connectors. They're not spade, so you don't wire these with the wrong size holes, and they tell you in the instructions how to do it, like that you use the four connectors on the power supply side and the ring connectors on the on that side. So I think I'm jumping ahead, but I'm taking the power cables off and resetting these. They use Delta switching power supplies, and apparently these Delta power supplies are pretty high quality. They're 240 watt. So yes, you can run this off of a battery, and I plan on doing that. The Core 1, yes, the Core 1 can run off a battery. I'm thinking about doing a UPS backup system where I basically have a drill battery as a last-minute backup solution if there is power loss. But the power panic pretty much works flawlessly as far as I know. I've tested the power panic on the Core 1, and I've been able to just unplug it and plug it back in, and it resumes with no problem. As long as the bed doesn't cool down. That's the other issue. I think if the bed cools down, then you might lose your part. If the part warps from cooling. Yep, we're reusing the power cables. I don't know why we have to reuse so much of this stuff. I guess we're keeping the ground on there. We're removing the Allen key. Oh, these are already loose. Well, that's not good. These are M3x10s, I believe. my kind of form of instructions are like, I mean, Prusa instructions are basically what I expect. Like, they will tell you exactly what screw to do, what you're going to save, what you're going to not save. Like, there's nothing, I have not found a major issue, except for there are some, like, logical issues where it's like they tell you to remove something before something else, but it doesn't make sense if you're doing a certain upgrade path. So, like, it is very hard to document that kind of stuff. This has a little bit of metal magnetized to it. And I think that's because it basically cut through the cable. I'm going to keep this ground cable though, even though they say don't use it. Because I can always reuse grounding cable wire. But yeah, this also has a lock washer in here, because if that ground came disconnected and your power supply goes live, that's very bad. Always check your grounds on your printers or any of your appliances with a multimeter. Check the ground to the chassis, ground to anything you're going to touch, even if it's plastic. Well, not plastic, but you know what I mean. If it's plastic and it's thin enough, if it had a high enough voltage, it can still jump through, but you're still like an insulator. That ribbon cable for that's gonna be saved. But yeah, like chassis, anything, even though it's powder coated, the powder coating could be an insulation, but you can still get a buzz from powder coated metal that is not grounded, that becomes alive, because you can basically wear away your material. The PSU might fall to the side. On the front of the frame, remove the 2 screws. Okay, so right now we're basically bare bones. I think we're going to take the extruder off. Oh, there's nothing holding that in place, so I'm going to remove the power supply. Yeah, and I believe that's why they're moving away from kits. Maybe, I don't know, but most likely having to deal with mains power on a printer. Well, you're not dealing with mains power. That's the other thing. They're sticking with 24 volts. So you're not touching a mains line anywhere on this power supply. This power supply shields the mains from you. I have taken a 24 volt. I have taken these apart, and there are just little jumper wires that go to your connector. So but yeah, you can touch this power supply all you want, and you're not going to get shocked. 24 volts does not pass through you unless you are highly conductive, which you probably are not. These are M4 bolts that I'm removing. There's 2 of them on the front. Power supply is free. I'm going to put that in the box. It has a lot of grease, a lot of residue from, it looks like, printer goo. So I'm going to clean that at a later date. Yeah, it gives me a chance to clean all the parts before I put it back in. Yep, now we're going to remove the bed. I might have to find a Torx wrench. If you give me a second, I'm going to try to find a Torx bit. I'm pretty sure I know where I have one. But I think a T10 is a kind of a small screw set. I'm looking in my tool bag under my desk. This is a Walmart brand. T15. Okay. I might have to find my iFixit kit. Give me 1 second. Yeah. In the UK, as long as your kettle is safe, it doesn't matter about any of the other appliances in the UK, as long as the kettle is safe. Because the kettle's like the only appliance. It's the only reason electricity was invented, was to have a kettle. Hey, Carl the Pumpkin Man. Thank you for joining my stream. I am in an awkward position where I am trying to find the screwdriver set. A very specific screwdriver set that I thought I had, but I don't know. Oh God, it might be in here. Hold on. When I packed and moved here from St. Louis, I basically had to take everything in my basement and condense it into a few boxes. And I have everything from like every electronic project I've ever worked on in boxes to like everything that was on my workbench. I am so glad I organized before I moved. I basically can tell you from the image in my head of the workbench, I can take from what I remember seeing in the workbench, or I can see what I had in the garage, and then, or the basement, sorry. In the basement, I can picture where that thing was in the basement and know where it goes in the bin. Because I spent like a week taking every single thing I had and sorting it in the bins and moving the bins. God, that saved me so much time. But I haven't unloaded anything yet. iFixit. It's dirty. This has a T. Hey, we found it. But yes, this is a not the expensive one, but it is the like Micro Center $20-$30 one. I think it wasn't that expensive, but I needed a safety bit for my N64 because I have done N64 mods. I've done actually quite a few Nintendo mods. Yeah, I'm gonna save these screws. Oh, pizza sounds great. And it even sounds better because knowing where you live, I bet they do pizza really well. I want Japanese pizza. I'm sure it's the same as American pizza, but like, it's what they think American pizza tastes like. And actually, American pizza is not even probably pizza, if you ask an Italian. Bell peppers or shiitake. Shiitake would be good on a pizza. Oh, of course you're making it from scratch. Why wouldn't you? That does sound good though. So, Carl. I'm saying Carl the Pumpkin Man, Carl. You remember the footstool that you reviewed on. Everybody go subscribe to Carl's YouTube channel. He Twitch streams pretty regularly, and he plays video games, and he does a lot of 3D printing projects and design videos and streaming. He did a contest recently. I'm blanking on the name, sorry. But essentially, I submitted a project that was a step stool that used dovetails to bridge the pieces together. And it was enough to be able to support my weight, my full body weight on it, with PLA and super glue. But he had really good points on it. But anyway, that project was a 24-hour build-a-thon, essentially. And in order to complete it, 48-hour. And in order to complete it, I had this printer right here that I'm taking apart. I had this one running at basically max speed at draft settings at 0.28 millimeter layer heights. So I had to basically book it on this printer. And this printer, now with the Core 1, I could probably print the same tool in less than 12 hours. I would optimize it though. I'd probably reduce the amount of material I needed because I had a lot of extra material that I did not need for strength. I could probably optimize it, but still, I had to print 3 separate parts, and I was able to fill the build plate and print at full speed to print that whole thing. Pumpkin Jam, yeah. So next year, please join his Pumpkin Jam. It was a lot of fun, and I challenged myself for sure. I am missing one screw. It is in the very back. I'm making sure I count these because they're really small torque screws. Yes, I recommend, as a maker who has done a million projects, not a million projects, a lot of projects, invaluable tools. Get a good soldering iron. Get a good precision screwdriver kit. Flux. Good quality solder. Good quality flux. Get a solder sucker or and solder wick. Get a good multimeter. You do not want to risk your life on a cheap multimeter. I have a Fluke T115. So this is a Fluke 115, very expensive meter. You can get cheaper meters that are pretty good too, but I would definitely not just get the cheapest meter you can possibly get. Yeah, so I do recommend a Dremel, branded Dremel tool. So the Dremel 300 is what I have. Oh, KFC sounds good too. Well, I don't like KFC. It might be better there than it is here, but there's a spacer in the middle. Make sure you use that for later. So don't forget, there's a spacer. I had Taco Bell, so I can't say anything about food. I'm pretty much addicted to Taco Bell. I would probably lose weight if I would stop eating Taco Bell. But yesterday I had sloppy joes and salad. Beef is expensive, and ground beef is expensive, and so it's kind of a rarity now to have it, cook it. So, but Taco Bell is expensive too. So it doesn't matter what you eat; it's expensive. Yeah, so what I'm going to have to do is put... they did not say anything about this connector, but I think they did. I think what happens is on the Mark IVs, the Wi-Fi is also the Y-bed connector thing, and I think that's why they did not mention it. So I'm going to have to... On the Mark IV, you have to remove a separate strain relief cover for the bed. Yeah, there's there's a lot of little caveats from the Mark IV upgrade that I am now realizing I'm missing. So I'm figuring this stuff out as I go. Most likely, once this is disassembled and I go to assemble the core 1, there's going to be like, I don't have enough screws, or I don't have enough, you know. So I'm going to have to kind of makeshift a lot of this stuff. But yeah, this is your bed. Bed is completely removed. I have done a bed. I have helped somebody with their Mark III, and I've done their. This is pretty easy to do, but replacing the thermistor is very specific. But I have replaced the thermistor because they do burn out. It says to place it on something soft, so. I'm going to put the sheet on it, the magnetic sheet on it, and place it on so it doesn't scratch. And place it up in the box on its side. No insider information, but essentially we store the heat beds in a box, essentially, so that they don't touch each other, they don't rub against each other, because the PCBs are really fragile because they use a high temperature coating on top of it. But yes, that is, we're removing the Y-axis Y rods. 4 screws holding the Y rods. Remove the Y-axis assembly from the printer's frame. Can do. We're going to use a 2mm bit. I think I memorized these. Yeah, 2.5mm, which they actually tell you what key. They tell you what Allen key to use. But I just know it's one of. I can kind of eyeball sizes, metric sizes now. I'm not perfect at it, but. But I'm going to basically make sure I manage my tools as well. So I'll place my tools here. My pegboard is not good. This is the multi-board set, so multi-bin by multi-board. We've kind of gone all in on. What I'm trying to do is I want to convert my workbench. So this is 1-inch pegboard. I want to convert this to be all multi-board. So once I get the printer set up, I'm going to print a bunch of multi-board pieces and basically bolt it into the 1-inch pegboard frame. Hey, I was just talking about you. I was like, Nomad is the inspiration for my stream, and he is such a wonderful person. Just kidding. No, I gave my whole life story, and people have come in and out. And as you can see, I've had a few people engage, which is fun. Oh God, why'd you go to Philly? I mean, I know you like Philly so much, but still, why'd you go to Philly? That's like an hour drive there and back, mostly, or an hour drive from me, hour and a half drive from me, really. It's an hour drive because the Micro Center was about an hour, but that's not really in Philly. But yeah, if I have to go, I basically have to make it a planned trip if I go to Philly, if I go to Micro Center nowadays, because last time I went to Micro Center, I had to make sure that what I had was available. Just covered in flour. Oh yeah, pizza will do that. Moved back from the UK and wanted to meet up. Oh, that's awesome. I hope to meet this person maybe. I don't know. I need friends outside of work. So if you live in the Delaware area and you aren't Nomad, you should come visit me. That sounds really sad, but it's true. It's like I haven't been able to meet a lot of people because I'm only working most of the time. The two people in the chat that have been active are in complete opposite sides of the world from me. Carl's in Japan, and I believe someone bloody random, who I think I know who it is in the UK, as they said from their time zone. So yes, very far. We are taking remove the 4 screws, fixing the rod holders, then remove the plastic holders, turn the assembly around, put them both Y rods, pull out the Y rods, remove the screws holding the bearing carriages. Oh, nice. A Trident. Well, I will say I haven't built a Trident, but I know that I think the Core 1 and the Trident are very similar to each other. I'm thinking. I don't know that for certain, but they seem very similar. Like size-wise and Core XY and, 3 lead screws. Okay, then it's not who I'm thinking it is. These rods, these bearings, I don't think I have that much buildup on these, and they're not grinding. Like, the rails don't have marks from the rods, but like, because this was built properly. I will even go to the point where I'm going to get the square nuts, the screws and square nuts from all these pieces, because I want to have extra M3 and screws and Prusa parts before I commit to anything. I know the Core 1 kit comes with basically all the hardware you need, but I'm trying to salvage as much as I can out of this stuff, just in case. Yeah, I'm sure the Core 1's easier to build than the Trident, but I'm not quite sure about that. I think these are M3 by 10s, but they have a whole bunch of square nuts in these things. I'm gonna quickly take the square nuts out of each one. I don't think you need to do this. I'm just kind of having fun with it. I might give up on this because it's really hard. It's really hard to get square nuts out of these things. So, yeah. 2.4 is a lot. I could probably build a 2.4, no problem, but I also know it's super time consuming. And honestly, I'm to the point where I don't care about printer kits as much as I used to. To me, I'm now to the point where the Prusas have spoiled me, that I don't even want to mess with stuff that doesn't have profiles and tuning. It's really the tuning I don't like. It's not the building process. It's just like having to figure out Clipper and the profiles, and then having to have your slicer like settings. And honestly, the Vorons are pretty good to the point where you can just copy a profile if you're building from a kit. But there's always like one little caveat on all this stuff. Yeah, you don't. Oh, that's so much easier. You basically just get the square nut peeking out of the hole, and then you just grab it with the flush cutters and you just pull it out. So I was thinking about customizing the Core 1, and I want to see what you guys think. Matt already knows, but I'm thinking about doing a cyberpunk theme Core 1, but I don't want to modify too much of it. I was just thinking of like doing maybe printed like accents with LEDs, like LED ribbon, and maybe like have a cool like visual dashboard, like not dashboard, but like, you know, light up LED signs, or I don't know, like billboards from Night City, like just Night City themed cyberpunk style stuff. Like it could also be generic. It doesn't have to be Cyberpunk 2077. It just could be generic, you know. Basically, like NerdForge did a really good PC case build of Cyberpunk, and I would like to do something like that eventually. Because I have the Nuka-Cola machine, but the Nuka-Cola machine is kind of old for me now, and I kind of want to do a different design. Sorry, I'm not gonna mess with this. I'm just gonna put it in there. But yeah, I believe these are M3x10s. I'm also getting really tired. It's 10:30. I don't know why I'm so tired. I'm almost done though. I'm pretty sure I just have I have to take the bearings off. Oh, that's right. We're not using the spider anymore. The bed frame is not being used. So that could be used on the Prusa wire. Yeah, I'll probably eventually get to the Prusa wire. But I'm in the same boat where this was an expensive project. And I mean, obviously I have some discounts, but it still wasn't expensive. This is an expensive printer. Even with the discounts, it's still an expensive printer. Let's just say I could probably have bought one of the Bamboo Labs P2S or something for about the price, I think. I could also, I do like the U1. I think the Snapbaker U1 is going to be a good printer, but I just feel like it's too much printer. Like, I really think the Core 1 is, I think the Index is worth waiting for over the U1. But I don't know. We'll get to it. Again, I just print useful things, practical things, and I just need it to run nonstop, 24 hours a day when I do need stuff. And then when I don't need stuff, it just needs to sit there and look pretty. Like, that is all printers are. They either look pretty when they're sitting there and they don't take a lot of space, or they're printing 24 hours a day and they don't fail. And so far, the Mark IV has been that printer. The Mark IV is very awkward because it's a bed slinger. It is a open bed slinger, so it gets dusty and kind of, I don't know. It just sits there. I don't know. It's kind of ugly. It's not ugly. It's a nice looking printer, but it still has the rep look to it. It's not a nice package, and that does matter a lot. Rods are going in the box. The box that you guys can't see. The bearings are going to be taken out because these are reused. I think they also have to be re-greased. I'm pretty sure these have to be re-greased. Also, to check on the manufacturing people, the bearings are twisted in the orientation that they're supposed to be. The bearings are supposed to be an X pattern, where you're not supposed to have one bearing rail perpendicular to the rod, because all the weight is on it. So you're not balancing the load of the ball bearings when all the weight is on one row of bearing. So they did a good job. This printer was built perfectly as far as I can tell, because it's worked really well. I had no belt tension issues or anything with this printer. They use rubber isolators so that the vibrations are a little dampened. But essentially we're going to keep the bearings and all the fasteners and all the rubber pieces in there. This is kind of random how I'm placing stuff, but I'll probably go back through and sort stuff. There's a reason why I have 2 bins worth of stuff in here, because I just want the stuff to be somewhere and not on the floor. These bearings probably need to be wiped and cleaned before I use them again. These things also have a plastic cover, and I think that's to prevent them from the rubber from, I think it's a stiffener. Yeah, that's right. It's a stiffener, and then the rubber surface on the bearing so that the bearing is isolated. Hey, food at 3 a.m. is really hard to find. We used to have 24-hour McDonald's, but I don't even know where I'd find 24-hour food anymore. Well, Waffle House is about the only place I could get a milkshake this late. Maybe McDonald's? There's Steak and Shake, but I don't know where there's a Steak and Shake around here. Pull the Y rods, clean them up, remove all the bearings, remove all 3 bearings, bearing holders, clean the bearings from excess grease and save them for later use. So I might as well clean them now. Yeah, that's right. I forgot Wawa. And Sheets is also pretty decent too for a milkshake. Oh, that's annoying. We had a whole story about why McDonald's had they're basically colluding with the Taylor ice cream machine company to basically force franchisees into having that call a repair person to repair their ice cream machines, and that's why they're always down. It's such a stupid thing. And then I think they sued the person that figured out all of this because they basically made a diagnostic tool so that franchise owners could actually diagnose their own ice cream machines. It became a famous right to repair issue. But yeah, it's super dumb. That is one big selling point for the Prusa printers is that they will not try to withhold diagnostic information from you. Most of the support agents will probably explain a lot of that stuff if they know. And they're not gonna charge you to basically read something that they could just do in software. It should tell you exactly what's wrong, until you have to basically send the machine off. But Yeah, they can't lock it behind a paywall like Bamboo would do. But I mean, Bamboo hasn't done that either. I mean, but they have removed features through software updates, which is not good. And I don't think Prusa would remove features. They'll just add features to it. But that's the power of open source software. I mean, is that you can go back and access all of it. The history of the revision history and all that. Their milkshakes are okay. I'm not a super fan of them. I think Steak and Shake has better stuff. Ew. There's hair. It could be my hair, but still there's hair. That's one good thing about the Core 1 is that there probably will not be biological samples inside the printer, just on top of it. Yeah, these bearings are kind of dirty. But Y bearings are covered, so I don't know. The X bearings are probably going to be even worse. Two types of bearings. Two of this type of bearing will be used in the Core 1 Plus. I think for the Z-axis. No. These are going to be the Y-axis. Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, these will be the Y-axis. I believe two of them are going to be for the Z-axis. So the Z-axis on the Core 1 is weird because it's two lead screws in the front. Or it's three lead screws and two linear bearings in the front. And I don't think there's a linear bearing in the back. Because I think it over-constrains it if it is. But yeah, I don't think I need anything else other than the bearings. Oh, God. I have to save the expansion joints, too. Also, these are tightened in there, so... Yeah, why do I have to remove the expansion joints? I don't understand that. Oh, they are used. Yep, they are used in the Core 1. I forgot about that. I think the only difference between the Core 1 bed and the Y bed is the actual plate that it mounts to. Because that's a sheet metal piece, and this is a cast piece. And I think the sheet metal piece still uses Magic Boxes. It might be cast. I think it actually is a cast piece. I don't remember. It's been a while since I built a... And also, I don't think I was the one that built the bed. I don't think I've done a bed sub-assembly yet. Yeah, chicken nuggies, as they call them. I could use chicken nuggies. Right now, my eyes are super, super dry. And, I probably should be done by midnight Central, or midnight Eastern. I'm hoping to be done by midnight Central, or midnight Eastern, so I can kind of clean up and get ready. I don't know what time I'm going to get started tomorrow, but I believe if we do this thing tomorrow, I won't be available till tomorrow evening. So I hope that I will be able to continue building the Core 1 stream tomorrow evening. Most likely, I only have really Monday. Yeah, I basically have Sunday and Monday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday night. So I think Sunday I'm going to power through most of it on stream. I think Saturday I'm going to try to get it to where I get all the sub-assemblies done. Or get like most of the sub-assemblies sorted through. And then Sunday I think I can build a lot of it. But I believe I have to have at least 12 hours of time, unless if I come up with some problem, then it might not be, but let's move on to the extruder. So I'm going to keep this frame as my spare part. I'm going to put this back here somewhere. Yeah, top of the power supply. Extruder. You guys can probably see it. It's going to be right here. Remove the top cover. This has a little latch, or that. It just comes off. Okay. Remove the screw holding the cover on the right side. It's also an M3x10. I'm going to have to sort through all these M3 bolts, but that should be pretty easy to do. All the tedious stuff I'm probably not going to do on stream, like sort through bolts, and I probably unpacking the kit I probably won't do on stream. I'll probably just get ready so that I can start a sub-assembly, the first assembly. Here, I'm going to save the cover. So I'm removing all the covers. To disconnect the motor, filament sensor, and load cell cables. Okay. Yeah, these click connectors are actually really nice. They come off really easily, and I think they make a pretty secure connection. I don't like micro fits are really hard to use. Like Molex micro fits. And now we're going to do the opposite side. We're going to disconnect the thermistor, nozzle thermistor, and heat bed cables. Release the 2 thumb screws until the assembly drops. So it looks like it's the top one. So they do use a micro. I think this is a micro for the hot end. And then the thermistor is on the top here. There's 2 thermistors, actually. There's a heatsink thermistor, and then there's the hot end thermistor. But those are removed. And then I remove the sun screws here, and then I believe this goes around here, and then the whole assembly comes out. It's very easy to remove all the tool head stuff. The block is a mess, as you can see, because there is no sock, and I used my wrenches to grab onto it. Eventually I might replace the block. I think the whole hot end assembly might be replaceable, but they're kind of expensive, and I don't want to have to replace it if I don't need to. Yeah, it's still usable. I mean, it's still a usable heat break. The thermistor works, hot end works, but it is a easy to replace part. It just, I won't be able to use the Core 1 without it, so. Unfortunately, it is a consumable part. Remove the thumb screws. I think the only thing saved on the extruder is the heatsink. I believe the heatsink, the motor, the PG gears, or PG assembly. These are crusty. It says to disconnect. Disconnect the cables on the side of the thumb screw extruder using the tin screwdriver. Remove the 2 thumb screws holding the print fan. So this is all going to be different because I don't have a Mark 4S. So I don't have to do any of this. I basically will not be reusing anything on here except for the heatsink. The fan assembly is here. I have a fan. So I have a fan, but I don't have any of the heat sinks or the metal piece, which you don't use. So essentially I just need a fan. That is going to be a little bit different. On this one, actually, all I need to do is remove this fan connector and then just remove the whole fan, which is held in by one pivot screw. One screw pivot. So I'm going to remove the print fan. I'm going to remove this whole assembly for the fan. It is very easy to work on these, by the way. Like, the tool head's pretty easy to work on. In the Core 1, it is not easy to work on because the Core 1 is very tight in there. That is one drawback, in my opinion. Ta-da! Done. Okay. I'll put that in my random box of parts. I'm going to remove the rest of the connectors while I'm in here. What do they else have here removed? The thermistor cable? Yeah. So the top thermistor, the heatsink thermistor. It's kind of hard to get in there. And this is covered up. There you go. Yeah, just using this to grab it. So that's your heatsink thermistor. This is your front fan wire. That's pretty much. I went from using a filtered setting on the Revo PZ to not using one. Further testing needed, but it's doing the Z tilt now. Oh, so I know that there is some filter issues that if you're, I guess it changes your sensitivity level. I thought there was a way to do calibration on the PZ sensor, but hold on, organizing. By the way, I do have a powered screwdriver, so I could use the the bit set with an adapter. Most likely I will probably avoid that, but I do have a metric set as well, so I could technically use the powered screwdriver on like the lowest torque setting. Yeah, so Z-tilt as in probes the trident probing the bed and then adjusting the Z-tilt. But that needs the PZ to be accurate enough to be able to compensate. If it false triggers, then you have a bad bed mesh. Remove the 2 screws. Okay. Again, all these parts have a white film, so I'm going to have to clean a lot of this with alcohol. But yeah, you can see the off-gassing of all this material. It off-gasses. Fan. Remove the 3 screws holding the neck extruder to the carriage. Remove the neck extruder from the printer. Remove the print frame support bracket, which we don't have. We don't have the spacer. Save the neck extruder. So, wow, look at that. All that is dust and printer goo. Oh, man, I gotta get another paper towel. I'll probably clean this stuff before I put it back on the printer. But for now, alcohol, which I have off screen. Oh man, there's a ton of dust back here. Yeah, this is kind of I must have had this in a pretty dusty environment. Yeah, you can see even more like in there. Clean, clean, clean. Okay. Also, I cut my thumb today at work, and so that burns a lot. I cut my thumb because a certain somebody wouldn't help me pick up sharp objects with their bare hands. Ta-da! The whole subassembly comes out. See that? Beautiful. I'm just messing with you. It was a paper cut. I think I did it on some plywood. I think the plywood was sharp and cut me. Wow, look how dusty that is. That really got... Well, it's not worth cleaning because this part's never going to get used again, but... I think we will be using the live board. I think that's it. And then I think the 2 bearings in the carriage get used, or the 3 bearings. Yeah, no, have a good night. I know I've been streaming late, but by the time I get home and eat and take a shower and everything, I'm pretty much done. I'm ready to, I was trying to get a head start on this, get this whole thing done. because I kind of want to rush to get this done. Remove the neck extruder. Remove the plastic fan support. Says remove the back, the 2 mark screws. That one. A little shorty M3 screws. I think this is a long one. And then loosen the remaining 2. Remove, and then this just loosens. I think these are your belt tensioners, or the things that hold the front plate on. Lift the love board out. And then I'll disconnect the cable. Okay, love board is disconnected. Also, the love board does not have anything other than, from what I can tell, like support hardware. There's nothing like active on it besides a few MOSFETs, as far as I can tell. I don't think there's anything like, there's no microcontroller on the board. It's all discrete. Rotate both threaded rods by hand to move the X assembly all the way to the top. Remove all 4 screws securing the left Z motor. Okay, so removing both motors. Okay, I think we're almost done. Also notice that these have orange parts and not black parts. There was 2 options. You could get it in orange or black, I believe, on the Mark IV. I think and then the Mark IVS replaced these with black parts. So it's another sign that this is a Mark IV, not a Mark IVS. Yeah, thank you. I think I should finish before midnight, so I'm hoping. Yeah, if I wasn't streaming, I think this probably would take about an hour and a half. Probably an hour, because I'd probably get distracted, but watching YouTube videos or something. But yeah, if I was in a hurry, I probably could get this done in an hour. There's just enough magnetic pull that I should be able to get these out. These are also M3x10s. Yeah, orange is nice, and I'm glad that the Core one has an orange accent. But I am a purple person, so I'm thinking about replacing, or at least wrapping a vinyl wrap on the handle to make the handle a purple color, because I think that's the only thing on the Core 1 that is. There's a couple other orange accents on the Core 1, but I would like to do the whole chassis in purple, and but I think that might be a little overkill. Plus, it's kind of a pain to take all the panels off and wrap them in vinyl or stickers. I kind of like the clean look of the stock Core 1. But the fact that you could change the accent color, because most people do that have Prusas, they've customized their printed parts. They replace their visible printed parts with the color of their choice, which is again another thing that's fun about these versus the Bamboo Labs printers, where yeah, you can modify the front cover, but like it's kind of a lot of work to take all the panels off and replace stuff. P1S maybe has a easier time, but I couldn't remove them all. But rotate the threaded rod on both sides to engage both motors from the trapezoid nut. I have to completely remove them with an Allen key. Oh, interesting. This printed part, this PETG part here, actually has a crack in it where the rod holder was. This one does not. So PETG can fatigue. And it is not, I don't know. I'm glad they moved on to more, they use PETG a lot still, but I think they moved away from PETG being where the stress loads are. There's a lot more PCCF because of the temperature and strength. This is a little annoying. It's pretty stuck on there. Yeah, they just get stuck. You gotta give it quite a bit of force. Ugh. Make sure these are fully disengaged. But yeah, I'm thinking of different themes. I think I really do like the idea of making a themed Core 1, because I don't think there's a lot of people doing that right now. And I'm not like a very good artist kind of person, but I would like help maybe coming up with the concept in the future, and then maybe come up with like, if I do like an inspiration, you know. Yeah, these rubber pieces are kind of stuck. That one's really stuck. But I don't want to damage it. I'm trying to see if I can remove. loud noises. Yeah. Trust me. I have considered making the Prusa Walnut Edition, where I basically put walnut veneer on the panels and do a nice satin oil finish. It would be awesome looking. It would match my computer case now because I have the Fractal Design case that has the wood panels on the front, the walnut little strips, and I like wood working a lot. So if I could eventually get a problem is I don't have my wood tools anymore, so I'd have to basically do all the veneer. I could laser cut the veneer actually. I have a laser cutter. I was thinking wood veneer because really, like actual wood panels. It would be nice though if I could actually replace the side panels with a walnut. That would be cool. But I think the walnut and then just like powder coated black like frames don't really. I don't know. It just doesn't work to me. Like I feel like you should go all wood or at least match the color of the metal to match it. Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about with that price. I think I understand it. It's just the rich people tax. It's the people that want the exclusivity of something cool to put in their living room. They don't have people that can afford a $1,500 end table are not going to think anything about a $4,000 printer that is only going to be made. It's a founder's edition thing. It's, hey, I was there first. It was cool. Sure, it probably doesn't have any value in a couple of years, but that's not what they're buying it for. They're buying it to look nice. Probably most likely all the signature editions won't have any print time on them. If I had to guess. What are you gonna print? Little dragons on a $5,000 art piece? I don't know. I just feel like if I had a storefront, if I had a high-end store, oh yeah, I'd totally buy one for a high-end store because you could just basically impress rich people with a nice-looking 3D printer that's printing vases out of really nice matte material or whatever, and they'd be like, "Oh, 3D printing, so cool." Yeah. Most likely, most of those the rich people are probably already buying the HGD. They probably have a whole print farm. Yeah, again, it's the rich people tax. I was talking about that today about Supreme and how people are buying T-shirts with a graphic T-shirt with a logo on it. Okay, cool. There we go. I just have to pry it off. It was stuck. That was crazy. This is gonna drop, by the way. That's off the nuts now. Lay the frame onto its back. But to be fair, I am pretty jealous. I would, if I had the money, I would absolutely buy a Signature Oak. I think that thing looks so cool. I think it looks great. But I also, $4,500 buys me a car. My car costs as much as a Signature Oak. And I'd rather have a car than a 3D printer. Hold on, I got a text message. Um, I'm trying to sign up for. I'm going to Dallas next week, and I want to meet up with some friends. So I'm trying to coordinate stuff. Anyway, yeah, Supreme is what I was talking about. Is that the printers are just kind of squirreled away in the back room, so if I make it look cooler, it wouldn't. Yeah, and that's the thing is like we don't understand what they are like. I mean, I kind of understand it, but like my wealthiest relatives would not have a $5,000 3D printer. They would have their luxuries are buying properties. Like the houses could be basic houses, but the fact that they own them is more of a flex than anything. I don't know. Like there's 100,000 there and millionaire, and then there's like tens of millionaire where you don't have to think about what you buy. Like I said, this was an expensive kit, even though I had discounts, and like, you know, if anything goes wrong with this, I'm not spending another $100 to fix it. You know, these are already this kit's already like be more expensive than like. I mean, I'm kind of comparing it to the P1S, but it's true. It's like I can get a P1S for about the cost of the upgrade. Actually, cheaper. The P1S is cheaper. Like, I'm starting to get to like just the upgrade kit cost is the cost of like. Because to think about it, you probably originally spent like almost $800 to get a Mark IV. And then another $600 to get their conversion kit. So you've already spent like $1,400 for this thing. Yeah. And then the signature oak, you're basically paying, essentially for a Core 1, you're basically paying like another $3,000 for wood panels. I don't know. And the legs. The legs are cool. I mean, but I don't know. It's frustrating. Because I totally understand the market. I just, like, I have a hard enough splurging, you know, $50 for a nicety. Like, I just now bought socks and underwear because I've been using the same pairs for way too long. A lot of my stuff got lost or destroyed in the move. So that was a lot of my spending for Black Friday was just replacing the stuff that got destroyed in the move or lost or broken in the move. So, but I got upgrades because, you know, I'm like, well, I might as well buy a nicer version if I'm replacing it. Oh yeah, these go out. These are actually going to keep the rubber pieces. These rubber pieces I don't need to keep, but I will anyway, because Core 1 has its own rubber isolation gasket. Dampeners. Yep. I guess the overall thing is spend money on anything that separates you from the ground. Shoes, tires, mattresses, pillows, sheets, chairs, desks or chairs, flooring, tires specifically. Like, don't try the T-Bron tires because you're just gonna be having to change it on the side of the road. And you definitely don't want to lose traction. This is going to drop. I guess this whip doesn't need to be saved, the cable harness. So I might just take that out too. I think I need to take the X motor out. Oh, no, we're fully disassembling this thing. Yeah, thanks. You can quote me on that. Although I'm not the one that said it. I'm pretty sure that's a Reddit. Somebody on Reddit said that. But it is one of those things. The other thing is the 3F rules, which I'm not going to repeat on YouTube. But essentially, don't buy anything that you can't just rent. That's expensive. Because then you're paying for the maintenance of it. I don't think about that with cars, though. I think you should own cars because we do not. If you lease a car, you get trapped. You get sucked into that trap. And buying a house is still an asset. And if I could get out of renting, I would. But right now, I can't afford to buy a house, and I can't afford to rent. So I'm pretty much stuck in rental hell. But I also realized that if I had to replace an air conditioning unit, I wouldn't be able to afford it. So owning the place sucks too. So there's basically no winning with property, except for when you're rich. But I'm hoping to have some stability so I eventually can save up money so I can own a house, so I can have a garage. Because that's essentially all I want, is a workshop. I would just sleep on a bed in a loft if I could have a workshop. Cat beds. Aw. Yeah, I'm gonna probably like the pet if I get a pet. I'm sure the pet's gonna be warm and soft and yeah, whatever. Last summer I got socks this summer and bought 5 pairs of socks and with the legend, don't go over mileage on lease. Yep, leases are dangerous. I don't know if Nomad's watching, but I keep reminding him that leases are dangerous. Yep, don't buy a new car. Just basically buy a used car. Buy a used car and learn how to fix it. You'll save yourself so much headache and time. Well, not time. You're paying for it in time, but you should not. Remove both the tops by pulling and disengaging from the rods. A slight wiggle mesh. Okay. So these rods are going to be saved. The bearings inside them are not going to be saved because they have their own 10 millimeter bearings. Wiping the rails, rods. These are actually pretty clean. These are very clean. They're a little too clean, actually. I think they should have had grease on them. But these are going in my stash. And then there's the Core 1 comes with another set of rods and one more rod for the... No, it doesn't use that. It literally only uses the parts, the linear bearings. It uses one linear carriage, one linear car. Yeah. I think LDO really should make at least e-bike motors. I'm pretty sure if you ask Jason, we could probably get an e-bike kit. That would be so cool. Because I would love to do an e-bike conversion. Like a conversion kit for a bicycle at least. But yeah, Newark and Elkton and Wilmington are not very bikeable cities. There are a lot of people with e-bikes, but Dallas Dallas was kind of bikeable. It could have been bikeable depending on where you lived. But the problem is Dallas is all suburbs. Dallas is like a whole bunch of suburbs in a city. And so you could technically bicycle within your suburb. But like the traffic is just so bad. Like the highways and side streets are so dangerous. I wouldn't want to be on them. I used I had a one wheel, and the one wheel was like scary because I don't know. Remove the X-axis from the printer frame. Remove the 4 screws holding the trapezoid nuts. Oh, we are using the trapezoid nuts again. Okay. Neat. I'm hoping the trapezoid nuts aren't being... I think they just give you one more trapezoid nut. So you're using 2 of them, and then the conversion kit only comes with 1. If that's the case, I'm going to have to clean this, because these are pretty dirty. And I hope they're not worn. I hope the trapezoid nuts aren't worn down. But these came out really easily. So to remove the belt tensioning screw. Okay. Yeah, so my car I bought for the price of a signature oak. So I bought $5,000. I probably put this year another $1,000 into... No, I put about... Yeah, this year I probably put about $1,500 into replacing almost every suspension component on the car. So new control arms, new wheel bearings for the front, new brakes for the front, the rear shocks and coilover shocks for the fronts, control arms and linkages, and then the rear I got new springs and new shocks because they're separate. I did not do the rear wheel bearings or brakes on the rear. I've only done the front brakes. So, yeah, basically within like the $1,200 to $1,500, I had friends that helped me do those things. So I saved a lot by not having labor. I just basically, showed up and they helped me for a couple hours. And so, so if you have friends that are mechanically inclined, it's useful. But a lot of stuff you can look up on YouTube and figure it out. And you really just need jack and jack stands and like a couple of a wrench set and an impact set. And then some stuff I had to find at Harbor Freight. Not Harbor Freight, but AutoZone kind of stuff. Yeah. So, yeah. Working on your own car is not super bad, but you also need to make sure you have a car that isn't like an engineering nightmare, like a Mini Cooper. I am so glad I did not keep the Mini Cooper because of that reason. I would not be able to fix a lot of stuff on the Mini Cooper myself easily. But I love the Mini Cooper. I would totally get another Mini Cooper if I could afford to keep it, up to date and everything. But yeah, there's a lot of computer systems on modern cars that I just cannot stand having computer systems on cars. I'm to the point where like I want a slate so bad because the slate is basically hey, save. Yeah, Minis, I love Minis, but yeah, you're right. They're not cars you want to keep. They're cars you want to lease. But now, like, even the modern minis have all the BMW crazy computer systems that are just way too much going on. Wow, they're going hard on this. You're basically completely disassembling the whole printer. Yeah, I think Slate is like, I didn't back it because it's like $50 for a pre-order, basically, that you're basically kickstarting a car company. I don't believe that I think they have investors, but I think they're still going to be one of those companies that has good intentions and then struggles. But I think you have to kind of defraud investors like Tesla. You have to get a bunch of hype and overvalue your stock to get enough investment to start an auto company, and then you're still losing money for a significant part of time before the company even becomes profitable at all. Like, yeah, that's the thing, is I think Jeff Bezos is basically like using he probably just likes it, and then he just like, oh, $1 billion, no big deal. And then he's probably going to make $1 billion from it back. Like, yeah, I think the Slate is the perfect car for me because it is bare bones to the point where they give you the CAD and they tell you how to mount stuff to it, and it's a roll-up window. I would love all that roll-up window, basic air conditioning, basic heating. Like, if I want a cup holder, I print a cup holder. Like, that sounds like fun to me. Remove both screws on the back of Y. And remove the cover on the back of Y. Pull the end out of the belt on the motor to get this engaged. Okay. So you're just completely removing the belt, essentially. I think it's KEI, which is Japanese for, I don't know, but I think it's class K. I don't know what it means. But yes, K cars would be awesome. I don't think K cars will ever be successful in the US because we're never going to go back to smaller cars. But like, I would like to at least get back to the point where compact cars are reasonable again. I think we should do more of the German size amount of cars. Like, the cars are more German sedan size and not like, the biggest thing in the neighborhood kind of cars. Okay, motor disengaged. Okay. So X, Y, and Z motors I'm going to keep here in the fan. I will probably do something with those. Okay, we're disengaged the idler. Square nuts. I don't remember where I put the square nuts. I don't know. I'll find out. Okay. So this, you basically pull this through and push it. And then you can see the shaft is there. And then use something to remove the shaft. It's a 1.5 millimeter through this little hole. And it pops out. Hey, good night. Thanks for coming, Rob. Pin, bearing, in there. Remove the 6 screws holding the buddy board in place. Release the board, save it for later. So I'm going to keep the carriage in place like it is. Save this. Save the belt. The belt gets replaced. I always have spare belt on you, I guess. I'll put this in my spare parts bin. Printer frame. I'm gonna put the rubber feet back on this thing so I can get it. It doesn't scratch anything when I take it out. Yeah, this frame is gonna probably have to. I think all the spare parts for this are gonna go. I don't know. I still have a spare frame in my car, so I gotta do something with all this stuff. I'm almost done. I'm gonna take the board out. Take 6 screws. So 1. F-150 is good. F-150 is still not fuel efficient. And not only fuel efficient, F-150s are big. They're still considered big to me. They're a little too much. I would be more comfortable with even the Ranger is about the size of like an F-150 almost. The Maverick is probably the only car I have actually wanted recently, but they went crazy in price and I could never afford one when I was looking for a car. So I think now that prices have come down, like used prices since they've been out for a while, like I think a used Maverick is probably a little bit more obtainable. But the hybrid system is the hybrid system is what I'd want, and it's a kind of a weak hybrid. I think Slate's nice, but it's not a big battery pack, so it's like a 150-mile EV range, which is probably okay for me now that I'm doing this. But the thing is, I can't make any big financial decisions until I have stability, and I don't have stability until have been working somewhere for more than like a couple of years, or else I would not buy a car. Because buying a car and then not knowing where you're going to be next year is super scary. So me having to move like 3 times in the last 5 years has kind of shot any big purchases. Because now I have to think of every time I buy something big, I have to make sure that I can move it. So this 3D printer can fit in my car. If I had to, I could easily resell this printer if I needed to, but I'm not going to. This is definitely going to be a printer I keep for years. Yeah, I don't think I have to worry about it, but it's always on the back of my mind of what do you do with the thing in like 2 to 3 years when you have to move again, because that is always a concern. Buddy board is stuck with thermal pads, and so the thermal pads are stuck on the back of it. I believe they give you new thermal pads, but I'm not going to take that chance, so I'm going to only hold it from the edge and to prevent static discharge. I'm going to put it in the box around the LCD, and remove the thermal pads. Okay. I'm touching my computer to de-static. Ew. Ew. Yeah, in Dallas, my aunt has a small mini truck called the Chevy Colorado. And like I feel like that is like a normal sized truck, but the Colorado is like technically a mini truck. And it's still like a big truck. But it's a 4-cylinder, so it's super slow. It's like a 2-liter 4-cylinder pickup truck, so it has like no towing capacity. Like my car has more horsepower than it probably has. I'm just scraping off the residue with my fingernail so I don't scratch it. Here, this is nasty. They should tell you that you need isopropyl alcohol, because you definitely do. Okay, so there is a layer, a paper foil layer. Okay, that's probably what I was doing wrong. Yeah, there's a paper foil layer. But again, the U.S., like, most of it is highway driving. Neighborhood driving, you're still going like 45 miles an hour, or like, 60 kilometers. But like the highway, you're going over 120 kilometers, right? Like 70 miles an hour here. It's like average highway speed, 65. So, and cars will go faster than you no matter what you do. So there's people always speeding. And then they also have to merge, and people won't let you over unless you, like, I guess, aggressively try to cut in front of them. So, and then people just have this false sense of security, and then all the marketing from bigger vehicles, like, you gotta buy the tough new truck, or, This $80,000 car that normal people can't afford. But don't you want to be cool? They're not advertising, hey, you should probably just get a practical, reasonable car. They're never going to do that. Or the compact cars like the Nissans that are really cheap. They're just like making them show, they're showing them like they're fun in the city. So they have somebody driving around the city block, like making them look like they're exciting, even though they're like Econo boxes. Like I think the Yaris is a good car. I think the I think what was the one that they had? Nissan. Oh, remember the Juke? I think the Juke was supposed to be one of those kind of fun city cars. I have a Scion XB, and the Scion XB was specifically designed to be designed for young millennials, basically. And then it ended up being driven by all the old people. It became a boomer car. And then the Kia Soul kind of became the fun compact. Or the Nissan Murano. Ugh. Thing's ugly. But they sell a bunch of them. But even Nissan was struggling financially, so I think even poor people can't afford poor people cars anymore. Like, I just don't understand how the car market is surviving. Like, to me, like a $300 car payment is crazy. Like, I couldn't, right now, I could barely probably afford a $300 car payment. Because the insurance is like half of that. Like, the insurance is almost as much as the car payment. And then you add on gas, like you're essentially paying like $500 a month to have a car, to have privilege to have a car. And $500 a month for most people is like a fourth to a fifth of their income, if you're lucky here. So, yeah, I'm very happy I own my car. But, yeah, it's not nice. I made it nice because I put an infotainment center on there, but it's like an Android 10 head unit that I got for $200 on Amazon and did it all myself. You know, like, it's a manual specifically so that it's more reliable. And if I ever have to replace the clutch, I can basically drop it and put a new clutch in. Probably a $200 clutch for job. And theoretically, I could do a transmission rebuild myself with a manual. There you go. It's mostly clean. And my fingers are not clean. I gotta clean those. God, that hurts. Right on my cuts, too. Okay. Let's do the LCD assembly. So much for having this by midnight. So this does not match. The only thing holding this in, the knob. Knob comes right off. It is a printed knob. The fast on is still attached to the grounding cable. Good thing I saved it. Here's our fast on. Yeah, I had a VW Golf. And honestly, a VW Golf for the US was actually a pretty decent compact. Yeah, gas, I mean, petrol, whatever you call it, is expensive. But yeah, fuel is expensive. Here it's like, it's under $3 a gallon, which is actually pretty reasonable, like $30 fill up. So for me, will get me like 2 weeks worth of driving to work and back. I'm using my pliers. There you go. I'm gonna put that here. Here. I don't like the printed knob. I'm gonna have to find, if they don't give you a printed a knob. Yeah, the knob is used later. See, that's the injection molded knob. I want the injection molded knob. I'll print a knob. I probably will want something nicer anyway. I kind of like the knobs that they had that were like a tri-spoke knob. I feel like those are better for like, you can use your finger and kind of do this instead of like, I don't know. But also, I think some people just use the touch screen. I like having a knob on these screens. Also, they use a Torx screw for the fast-on connector. So I think that's different. Yeah, the screen is completely different on this thing. Because this thing doesn't have anything holding it on the printed part. It's 4 screws. That's it. The whole screen comes off. So it's just a reflector tape. And it screws directly into the plastic. So I'm hoping it doesn't have any difference in its parts. I mean, it's the same LCD board. As far as I know, it's the same LCD. So there's not like, I think the only thing we're reusing from it is, oh, okay. You're removing it. Yeah, it's a completely different LCD cover and mount. But I will save it. I don't have to take apart the fan assembly, but I'm going to see what they do. So the fan is going to be separated. The Y motor is right here. Oh, these thermal pads, I swear. Ugh, gross. And then more paper towels and alcohol and burn cuts. Yeah, our cheapest unleaded fuel is like, I think 87 octane. So I don't know if that's high or not. Yeah, our fuel is mostly tax as well, but it's still cheap compared to everybody else. And that's why we can sell. That's why we sell big cars, because nobody cares about fuel. And even now, well, now we really don't care about fuel mileage on cars because our government doesn't care about fuel efficiency. They want to keep the automakers still in business instead of, planning better ways to build vehicles. Okay. Separating the pulley. Pulley, motor, I don't know why why motor pulley is taken off and not the other ones. Oh, okay. I think we're doing that now. I don't know why they wait till the end to remove all the sub stuff. Almost done. I said that a while ago, but I didn't realize there was so much more prep. I'm almost done because I have to be done by midnight. That was my goal. Remove the textile wrap. Okay. That gets replaced too. They have a different sleeve for the motors. Actually, the motors don't have sleeves. They get tucked behind the panel. So you actually don't see the motor wires. I took the rubber pads off. Clean any residue. Clean. Okay. Okay. There you go. You definitely don't want to bend those rods. That's for sure. I'm going to take this frame off finally and figure out where that's going to go. I think it's going to go right here. And the bed. I'll take the bed off. Remove the two screws holding the cable cover. Taking the screws out. Yeah. You think you're done, huh? I have 60 more steps to go. Yeah, you should see what they have us do for production too. I mean, these are assuming you have a whole weekend available to you. These are definitely not meant for like, you know. What? Really? Ew. No. Ah, gross. Why am I replacing the whole thermistor? Seriously? Does anybody else see this? You're literally taking it, stripping it down. Oh. It's a longer cable. Comes with a separate bag from the main package. Ew. I am not doing this. I will do this tomorrow first thing. Because I think this is the last step. Okay, so we're starting the sub-assemblies for all the conversion stuff. Okay, so the last step is removing the caps on tape. Yeah, so this is going to be my last step, is getting the PCB ready. Yes, correct. If it was up to me, the thermistor would be a click connector that attaches to it. That's strain relieved. That way, the thermistor is on its own cable, separate from the main lead cable. Oh, that's right. They use a little nylon piece. These little hex nut things. Okay, this is pretty useful. I am using this as my wrench. And then I'm going to do my other one. Loosen this. The torque spec for this, like, they have to be, these bed screws have to be tightened properly, and I don't know if they tell you to tighten these properly, but these, like, absolutely should be torqued correctly. I hope they give you another nylon nut, because the nylon nuts should only really be used a few times because they reform the threads. And like the washer, I'm hoping I don't lose any hardware, but I did take all the hardware out of everything. So but yes, I have done PCB boards from scratch, where I had to basically solder my own thermistor onto the bed, and I had to solder heat bed wires, which is so bad. Yeah. Yeah, so it says remove both stickers. I'm going to use my fingernail to grab the Kapton. without scratching the board. Oh, that doesn't come up as easily as I thought it would be. Okay. But the foil hopefully will come off easier. Yeah, capped on aluminum stick. Remove the whole cable bundle together with the thermistor. Clean up any leftover adhesive. But yeah, I think tomorrow is going to be first thing is to do all the sub-assemblies from this point. Yeah, thank you for coming, John. I'm glad you were able to be a part of the stream. But yeah, sometime tomorrow I will be, depending on what happens tomorrow, if there is a new pet involved or not. Hopefully that is, I'm sure I'm going to get involved in that, but I'm hoping it is an easier process. But assembly should be pretty straightforward. But almost it's past midnight Eastern, so I'm going to finish this. And it is the thermistor is actually on a flex ribbon that's soldered or crimped. Actually, I think it's crimped to wires, and it has strain relief, and then it goes through completely straight to the click mate in the back. So I'm going to keep this cable just in case, because it is always nice to have a spare thermistor. And then alcohol. More alcohol. If anybody's watching, let me know how this layout is, because I spent a lot of time trying to figure out like the best arrangement for all the cameras, and having the step-by-step guide, which I appreciate seeing. I don't know if anybody else does, but on live streams I like to see exactly step-by-step, since the Prusa guides are a big part of the Prusa kits. It's like a lot of the Prusa hardware is having really well documented guides, and I like to highlight that part. But I also want to be able to show like exactly what I'm doing on camera clearly, because it is hard to show like the tedious stuff on camera, especially if it's boring. But that's why I like to be engaged and not stop talking, basically. Because even if I don't have anybody watching or they're listening in the background, at least they know. And then if they rewatch this video, I'm hoping that my commentary makes sense to them, you know? So I'm trying not to give like a lot of information that might not make sense on video later. But I'm not thinking like I would have somebody watch the VOD. So if leave a comment on the video if you're watching this on a VOD and you've made it past the 3 hour mark. Yeah, 3.5 hour mark. I don't watch VODs because 3 hours, unless I skip around. The only time I would do it is if I skipped around to specific parts. And I usually skip around looking for images, which are usually this. So if I see you're working on the bed, or I see I'm working on, you know, the nozzle, and I had a very specific question about a certain part, then I can watch later. So somebody can watch me and see, oh, hey, he took his stuff off, and he's using a Mark IV instead of a Mark IVs, that kind of stuff. So very specific stuff. Okay. So we are stopping at we are stopping at number 11. And just to give you context, 11, oh my god, okay. 11 is only halfway through component prep. We have thermistor, installation, heat bed rework, gearbox preparation, extruder rework, bearing checks, part recaps, which I think the recaps are quick. Then it's the base assembly, back assembly, heat bed, Core XY. A Core XY is going to take a while, extruder assembly. So tomorrow, I'm hoping to have at least this done. And then I think Sunday will be Core XY assembly. I'm hoping to have Core XY assembly done tomorrow. So I might just push through. And then extruder bodywork and electronics and trim honestly aren't that hard. The problem is I'm going to have to do a lot of movement. And this thing gets really heavy. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream. So I think tomorrow, I'm hoping it will start earlier. So I'm hoping in the afternoon, 3 to 4 maybe, Eastern. Depends on what happens. So, again, like, follow, whatever, subscribe. I think that's it. Watch the VODs. Now what do I do? Oh, I'm going to end the stream on the PC. So have a good night.